Hi everyone. I'll just give you a bit of background about Capability Group. So we've been around since about 1984. I haven't, and neither's Tim. But a mate of mine and I bought it off the original founders. I like to think it's about 6 years ago. It's actually about 10 years ago. And they were traditionally a consultancy that focused on leadership development in a corporate environment. And so my background had been high school teaching, change management, got into HR, that kind of thing. And so we changed it quite a lot, and we've grown massively over that period of time. About 7 years ago, we started to think about what we were going to hang our hat on in terms of learning tech, right? And so did a lot of research, and we found a product 7 years ago out of Canada called Exonify. We brought that to the market, and now we're the APAC reseller. Our next product that we found, and it's taken me a long time, and I'm constantly researching, looking for things that have learning impact, was a product called Jensenate. So Jensenate is a training consulting company based up in Brighton in the UK, and they've developed the product that we're going to talk to you about today. So we've developed an experience around that. But in essence, we've become the reseller of Jensenate in the region. So one of the tenets of corporate learning or learning for grown-ups is the best kind of learning by doing, right? So what happens in a corporate environment, is that's not such a corporate environment. It's actually backroom in Glengarry's down in Wellesley Street in town. But what happens in leadership workshops in particular is people are reflecting on or looking at different scenarios, thinking about issues, things that have happened in the past, and they're talking with their colleagues about what they learnt from that, what would they do differently next time, and that kind of thing. So it's very much, the learning's an intellectual exercise. So the power of, and many of you probably know this, but the power of VR is what happens when you come into a highly ambiguous, immersive experience, is all your raw emotions, natural behaviours that you encounter when you're in a situation you don't know very well come to the surface within a minute or two. And so what we get the opportunity to do is debrief real behaviours that have been observed in the moment. So it makes the learning a lot more powerful. So ultimately, the power of VR in corporate learning and in the work that we do is it can accelerate mindset shift and behaviour change, and it creates learning that sticks because we're dealing with real behaviours in the moment.
Alrighty, Reveal VR is built around 4 key pillars. So immersive VR technology. Obviously, we just want to get the users in and get them in the headset straight away and start sort of exploring for themselves. Engaging gamification, so the couple games or experiences that we're using at the moment sort of feature unfamiliar worlds, and that has sort of shown us that these people, when going in virtual reality, they're a little bit unfamiliar, so they're quite sort of ambiguous and keen to figure out what's going on. Latest behavioural psychology. So every little action in the game, such as movement or communicating with one another, it's all recorded by a computer, and we sort of take a log of that. And then this log, alongside facilitation, can be turned into a highly detailed psychometric report. And lastly, expert facilitation. So paired with our workshop, people get into VR, and then afterwards, an expert facilitator will sort of have a chat to them and debrief the behaviours that they've observed during the thing in VR.
Okay, in terms of how we can use it, and the various things that come within the experience. So we can use it for executive coaching. We can, Tim's already mentioned the psychometric assessments. The thing that's getting some of our clients really excited is that behavioural data and analytics that then can feed into development programs and that kind of thing. And that's evolving at a rapid pace, so the team up in the UK are working really hard on that. We obviously use it quite a bit for team building here, and I'll explain a bit more about that. It's not your usual team building experience. We also use it for leadership development across all levels of leadership in an organisation. We're starting to create experiences in our longitudinal leadership programs we design. We can also use it for all sorts of different skills as well. So whether it's building adaptability and agility of your people, whether it's communication skills, collaboration. So some of those sort of human, or what's traditionally been referred to as soft skills, that are now also referred to as future skills, we can deliver really effectively through this kind of experience. The interesting thing about this is Reveal comes, or Jensenate, is a couple of games, if you like, and then what is this learning experience is designed around that. And it's that learning experience and the facilitation and the behaviours that we draw out that can be customised to whatever the organisation's needs are. The immersive headset experience stays the same for everybody, but it's the learning that's designed around that that's really, really powerful.
Thank you. Cool. So how does Reveal work? It's split into 3 teams, Team A, Team B and Team C. And now's a good time to point out that the games themselves are sort of multiplayer. So if you're in Team A, you can communicate with one another, etc. So Team A is going to be the virtual reality players. Ideally, what we want to do is get in a group of 12 people come in, split them into 3 groups of 4. And so 4 of them are a virtual reality player, 4 of them are Team B. And Team B isn't in virtual reality, but they sit behind a few computer screens where they can see exactly what the virtual reality players are seeing, as well as some sort of bird's eye view shots and also some tools that may benefit your VR teammates. And lastly, we have Team C, and the role of Team C players is to sit quietly and observe. And so what they're doing is picking up on behaviours, maybe how someone's communicated with one another during a session, and then after this, the facilitator takes them aside, debriefs that, and throughout the day, or a workshop, if you will, everyone is meant to have a go in each of these 3 teams, so everyone cycles through.
Okay, so... so why did we choose to go with Jensenate? So it's quite interesting. So there's a couple of companies that we're associated with that are similar to us, one in South Africa, one in Dubai, and they're both run by women who I have a huge amount of respect for. They're kind of gurus in the leadership development space, and they had jumped onto Jensenate at the end of last year. And so I was like, what? Like, how come they've gone for a tech product? And so I jumped on the phone to both of them, like straight away going, okay, what's going on? Well, and so then they said, Drew, you've got to get in on this, you've got to go and have a look. The experience is mind-blowing. This is, like, you've got to get in. So I went back, talked to my business partner, Chad. Him and I, we flew up to London. It was quite a big call for us. But flew up to London just before Christmas last year, experienced going into the immersive environment in this shack in the middle of Brighton. It was the most low-tech environment filled with all this kit. It was mind-blowing. But we signed up straight away. And so we asked for the APAC region. So what we came back and did was set up a physical space here in Auckland and also one in Singapore. So we invested quite heavily in that. We trained up our people. Tim was instrumental on the tech side. And then COVID hit. And so, in effect, these are still, at the moment, face-to-face workshops. So we had invested a fortune and had to mothball the whole thing. And then we've had to mothball it all of last year, just swallow, pill and keep going. But here in the last 2 or 3 months, we've started to crank up again. We're running quite a few sessions, a lot booked in for next year. The response we're getting is amazing, and we're just about to kick off in Singapore again. Now, the reason it was such an amazing experience was because it's completely aligned with everything we believe about learning for impact. Right, so what we research neuroscience, behavioural psych. Was interesting listening to some of the language you were talking about how to commit new knowledge to long-term memory or workable memory that you can draw on in the moment. So we distill down a set of design principles, and those design principles from our research underpin the design of all of our programs, and also what we've ultimately selected to do in the tech space. And so there was an alignment there straight away. The other important thing with Jensenate or Reveal is the data. So we need to be able to constantly justify return on investment in the training dollar to our corporate clients. The data and analytics that's captured in the platform that we can report back to a client is sensational. And then the other interesting thing for us is the growth for us is coming out of Southeast Asia, out of our Singapore office, and so we needed this solution to be scalable. Now, at the moment, we're still limited to physical space, but with Quest 2 coming on board, we'll be buying those up next year, and we'll be fully untethered and be able to deliver an experience to a geographically dispersed team, and we've already got clients that are really keen to do that with us.
Cool, the Reveal VR experience and brand. So Reveal was meant to be, well, it is, sorry, an experience-based brand, which was a really cool and fun opportunity for the team at Capability Group to be working on. So when you enter the space, and this picture here is a space in Auckland, you cannot, we don't really give many markers away about what you're getting into. We want people to feel comfortable, but also allow themselves to explore what's going to happen. In terms of tech, it sounds like it would be a pretty straightforward thing, which is what I originally thought when starting it, but it turned out not to be exactly that way. Thanks, Drew. So it's effectively gaming computer setup and server grade stuff. So you can see here some of our 12U cases and HDMI matrix. And so in Auckland, we went with the permanent sort of setup. And this is our spot in Singapore, where we've gone with a portable laptop setup just for ease of transportation and that stuff. And so this space here is one of our most recent partnerships with a company in Singapore called Capgemini, and they've supplied us with a really high-tech space to use.
Cool. I think that conversation, the keynote, talking about collaboration, communication, I can't remember what the third C was, is sort of fundamental to our business model. So we've kind of partnered with a UK developer. They happen to know training as well. In Singapore, we've partnered with the Capgemini Innovation Hub. There are other people we're looking to partner with who have a really large employee base generally, and they can see some use of this technology for them. And we're not developers yet, but it's something that we're going to continue to explore just because we see huge potential in this space. In terms of use cases, there's just a couple of quick things. We've had companies come in, corporate New Zealand clients who are moving to an agile methodology. That means you get lots of ad hoc project teams coming together on a regular basis. They don't typically work together, but they've got to get together for a period of 3 months and deliver something. So they need to bond, connect, figure out ways of working, and do that as quickly as they possibly can. So we see VR and a 3 or 4 hour experience for that team being incredibly powerful to support that shift in culture and ways of working in those corporate clients. Also through COVID, lots of corporate New Zealand teams have been geographically dispersed. There's also been restructures. People have lost their jobs. They've recruited new people. So we've had a few teams come in that have got together for the first time, and it could be a new manager in the team or three or four new people in the team, and they've gone through this experience. And the focus has been, okay, how are we going to operate in our new normal? What have we learnt about ourselves again? We've reconnected, learned about some new people, and so they're all guns blazing and all aligned to hit the ground running when they get back onto the day job. And those are just some quotes. Right, that's us. Sorry, about a minute.
No worries. Thank you, guys.